Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fridays with Steve. We're starting 30 seconds early because I managed to finally hit the post, as the radio folks would say, on the music fading in and out. Again, StreamYard, my number one request is just give me a slider bar mixer for bringing music up and down within the tool. StreamYard's a great tool. Don't get me wrong. We actually love it. And it's a great utility for coming to you live and making great recordings. So thanks for joining us. This week, we're going to talk about Teams Rooms Management. I'm going to talk a little bit just about some of the tools, some of the approaches, some of the things we've learned, and then just make a quick pitch for letting us help you. One of the things that Apex does and does very well is managed services. And we have a specific offering for customers that is just completely focused on Teams Rooms. For some of our customers that are either fully managed or managed with our Empower product, it's an add-on. It can also be a standalone. There's a lot of value in rooms as a service, right? I'm trying to make RAS happen and really give you the outcome you're looking for in a super predictable way. Rooms are kind of in an interesting space in that they are, consumed by everyone. People have interaction with them. It's not their personal technology. It's not sort of their standard, support my laptop, support my desktop kind of thing. But we need to support the rooms for everybody to use. And it creates this different dynamic, right? People want, they don't want customization. They don't think of it as their own device necessarily. They just want it to work. And we've had success with a number of customers really just taking that approach and saying, hey, I just want whoever walks into this conference room to be confident and to have an ease of use that they can engage with and get the room up and running. So we'll talk a little bit about the management tools, just kind of a quick review of some of the things that are out there. I'll talk a little bit about the case for managed services throughout, as I am already. And then we'll talk a little bit about our offering in this space. It really has gotten a lot of traction with a lot of customers, and I'm super excited to talk to you about it today. So the Teams Admin Center has really developed into this hub for managing the entire Teams environment, including kind of those ancillary functions. I think most of us in the Microsoft world are used to, managing users, managing configurations and things like that. But Teams has this added dynamic around devices and phone lines and applications that are presented within it and so forth. And because of that, having all of the rooms pieces, centralized is really nice. For the customers that manage themselves, I think one of the key and compelling reasons that many of the customers we work with have expanded their footprint in Teams is the ability to manage in one spot, device auto enrollment to make sure that anything new is coming in. I'll talk a little bit about, call analytics and being able to see problems, ahead of time. There's also, a great way. We've been on this journey to delegated administration and sort of much more granular administration over time. And Teams continues to embrace that. One of my early projects as a consultant in the Microsoft space was working with a local to Minneapolis-based retailer who sells consumer electronics and has a yellow tag as a logo. I can't say their name though, but they were finding challenges with security and administration within their environment. And I discovered that there were almost 500 people and entities that were domain admins. So it's been a long journey from that point when applications and services all wanted to be admin to where we're at with delegated administration. And Teams and the rooms functions continues to embrace that, right? Continues to say, hey, let's give you the permissions you need for this role, right? And that role-based administration goes a long way in keeping your environment safe and secure. I mentioned the call analytics and call quality dashboard. And so, this gets into that space of experience, right? What are folks feeling when they're having their meetings? Oftentimes it's localized, but there are also sometimes with our customers that we manage, there are patterns that emerge, whether it's time of day, whether it's congested network devices, whether it's configuration challenges. Being able to identify those things and hopefully identify those things ahead of time, super, super critical. Again, nothing more frustrating in a meeting experience than, choppy video, audio that cuts out, and we start out with great room design and try and set every customer up for success. But then the ongoing monitoring and management, keeps that experience healthy. And so you can see, there's a bit of a live demo going on the background around device management. You can see your inventory, understand things like software updates, do some, organizational views. Here are all the conference rooms on the third floor kinds of things. Do device health, including some of the peripherals, automate alerts. And here's where we talk about that delegated admin again, being able to say, hey, there's someone whose specific role is in this space, and you can combine those with other roles. And so you have, people that have the tools and the access they need to make these things run and run well. You can see, a restart being scheduled in the background. That frankly has been one of the challenges with rooms, and one that we love to partner with customers to help them ensure that they don't end up in a space they don't want to be in, which is I love predictable, right? One of the greatest lessons from my time as a consultant was teaching customers to sit on their hands, right? Don't monkey with anything, and if it's working, let's continue to maintain it. The reality is there's power drops, there's updates, there's people who might unplug a device and plug something else in, unfortunately. And so knowing that those things are coming back up in a known good state, in a working state, super, super critical. And so being able to have the tools to analyze this and be able to proactively and predictably know room state, super, super powerful. And I know that that's a challenge some customers have when they maybe build their own rooms or end up with sort of a hodgepodge of devices and so forth. And that's where we love to step in and really help them really make the environment predictable. I love predictability. And so Microsoft has introduced this Pro license, and you can see here the difference between the two. It really accentuates the management and the administration of your team's rooms going with the Pro license. Have to be honest, being on a lot of roadmap calls and a lot of investment calls with Microsoft, that is where they're going to continue to build in capability, value-added capability in that Pro license. And so, we try and steer our customers towards it simply because, the basic or the OEM-based license, it is there. The device will work. But at the same time, we're missing out on some of the capability and some of the value add. I'm a big believer, I work with our sales team all the time, and I'm a big believer in value-based selling. And so I really want to paint a picture of the outcome of the environment and then say, well, and here's the investment to make that happen. Is that a fair and equitable trade? I know Microsoft licensing is a pain in the butt and kind of a bugaboo for a lot of customers. And we really try to help walk them through making sure that they've got the license and the capability that matches their needs and the value they're looking for, right? there are some customers that where E3 makes sense, right? And there's a lot of customers where E5 is actually the value play. It's more expensive, but you get more out of it. So the same is true with Teams rooms. We really work with customers to analyze what's going to be best for them, ensuring that we're just not looking for the cheapest alternative versus what's the most valuable. And so I keep mentioning, delegated permissions, role-based administration. You've got a Teams device administrator role already created to be able to just manage the devices. These two screens sort of show that difference. Thinking about my friends at the retailer, global admin, people can get in, all over the admin console. What you see below is that device administrator, right? And so you can think about whether it's level 2 support, whether it's delegated administration to us, right? You have the ability to sort of, allow someone to work with the rooms to make sure that they're up and running and running well, and not change somebody's phone number, right? Or do something, turn off or on guest access, the kind of the large scale changes in Teams that might not be appropriate for that individual. And so it's been a long journey to get to role-based administration. We love helping customers on that journey and just making sure that the right people have the right tools. And so that was just a little refresher on the management tech. What I want to talk about now is, as we start to wrap up, is, we've got a managed services offering in this space. And so Empower is the umbrella term we use for our managed services offerings. And there's one specifically for Teams Room, right? So, tier 2 admin support for your IT team, troubleshooting issues. We'll monitor and manage Teams Rooms, including those monthly updates. Just want to briefly mention, obviously, there's Teams Rooms that are Android based as well as Windows based. Where it makes sense, we really love to focus on those Windows based rooms, simply because they're so much more powerful. They're so much more manageable in a lot of ways. Microsoft is continuing to innovate on the Android piece, and they're great devices. But if you already have a wide scale, Windows management strategy, Intune, Windows Update, all of those things already figured out, it's nice to then use rooms that can somewhat map to that same strategy. And so we work with customers to figure out kind of what's the best way forward. We get you engaged with one of our customer success managers, doing check-ins, doing proactive work, understanding needs, doing any road mapping activities, or talking about where the future takes you. And we really want to help you be proactive, right? So one of the key outcomes is being ahead of, your CFO going into a room and, she can't spin up a meeting because there's a pending update or something like that. Let's get out in front of that. And so that's something that we really focus on. Quick resolution, we manage rooms at scale. And this is the way it is with a lot of things in the Microsoft ecosystem, whether it's Microsoft itself or us as a partner or any partner you work with, is that we see these things at scale, right? The same way Microsoft, has an easier job spotting a spam message because they see the same message flow into 1,000 tenants all within a half a second of each other. This looks suspicious. We do the same thing, especially with rooms, with how many rooms we've installed, how many we manage. We've seen a lot of things before. We're able to do that correlation and bring the value to each additional customer that we manage. We can give you usage information. I guess that's one of the things, whether it's, post hoc justification, whether it's understanding, hey, it's time to outfit some new rooms. Or frankly, if the usage isn't there, hey, do I have a training issue? Do I have a solution that isn't meeting the customer needs? Are they unplugging it and just doing local broadcasts all the time? Are they watching TV? The usage information can help drive a lot of decisions around that. And, this is one of the most critical things that we're seeing with our customers. This, getting back to work, coming back to the office, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 days a week, now having the technology to support basically constant hybrid meetings. Used to be the exception. Me and my team at Microsoft, we'd all be in a room. Maybe there was one person who had to dial in or something like that. And it was sort of understood that hanging out on the phone for an in-person meeting, was going to be suboptimal. Now it's really the reverse, right? You're basically guaranteed to have someone remote in every meeting. And honestly, it's no longer acceptable to just acknowledge that they're a second-class citizen. And so our managed service can help you with what you're doing now, but also continue to help you innovate and improve the experience for both local and remote workers. And so, please let us know how we can help, right? These managed services, especially this one directed at Teams rooms, are super valuable. We're helping a lot of customers today, and we'd love to help more. And that's what we do, right? Over 20 years of helping hundreds of customers, hundreds of projects, hundreds of thousands of devices and management deployed. And so, we really are experts in this space. And it's, the same way, here at Apex, we use Zenefits for payroll and benefits administration. Why? Because we're not experts at that, right? We found experts and we map that into our business. Let us do that when it comes to these technology, specifically hybrid work solutions. Your call to action, let your AE know that you're interested in managed Teams rooms. Reach out to me directly. If you're not a customer, or reach out to our sales team. We'd love to help you, bring those rooms under management, either as a part of a larger agreement, or, hey, if all you want to do is have help managing those rooms and having a predictable outcome, that's something that we can do for you as well. I want to close out today just plugging a couple of events that we have coming up. The first is a big one. So I talk about back to work. I talk about back to the office. We're going back to the MTC. So later on in August, we'll be hosting a Microsoft 365 Summit with our great friends over at Total Solutions. So if you're local to the Detroit metro area, and this is something that interests you, please visit our registration page at apexdigital.com/summit and register for the event. Space is limited, so I encourage you to register early. There's no cost, but we certainly we're back in the physical world, right? This isn't a Teams live event where I can have thousands of participants. We're making an investment in being in a physical space, meeting the experts, hearing great information, collaborating and connecting both with your peers as well as the team at Total Solutions and at Apex. And so I encourage you strongly to take a look. And then I just wanted to plug next week's Fridays with Steve. We'll be starting a series on road mapping, maturity, working a plan when it comes to, growing in your IT capability, eroding things off the bottom so you can go do more things at the top for value add. This is something I work with my team internally every day on. It's like, what task can I farm out? What can I retire? What can I contract for? So you guys can do more things at the top end that really enhance the business. And that's kind of how I think about roadmaps and IT maturity, is that getting you do the things that add more value to the organization. So we're going to kick that off. Starting next week, we're going to talk about laying out the roadmap and working the plan and all those kinds of things over the next few Fridays with Steve. So visit us on the web, apexdigital.com/journey, or take a look at LinkedIn. I believe the first event is already up. Maybe even the second event, you can RSVP and add it to your calendar. Make sure you catch us live. And if you don't catch us live, always you can catch the recordings both via LinkedIn as well as on our YouTube channel. So that's it. Headed into the weekend, recording this on Friday. And so thanks for joining us. Hope you found some of the information valuable and are have your interest piqued on managed services from Apex. And we'll see you again next time.